So it has been a few weeks since I made my last video. I found it so hard talking about the rats and about their lives, and it was just a short video, and I was planning to talk in detail a bit more about each rat, but at the moment that is on hold because I just found it really upsetting. A lot of good memories came back, but it just made me realise how much I was missing the rats, and where I've not been feeling well, I just didn't feel I could actually talk about the rats so much at the moment. But there will come a time when I will talk more about them, where things are very difficult at the moment and we're having challenging times again. It's been a bad few years. So I just wanted to talk a little bit of how we're coping with that and how you can actually, make adjustments to your life. So I do believe this is not a good time to bring new animals into your home. There are some exceptions. If this was your companion animal that you've lost and you really need an animal and you can afford the animal, now it's really important to look to the future to make sure that your finances are stable, your home is stable. If you're renting it, be aware that lots of landlords won't allow animals, and it would be heartbreaking to get a new animal and then move and not be able to keep them. If it's a rat you're talking about and you need to get a new companion rat for one of your other rats, that doesn't really involve a lot of cost because you already have the cages and everything, and rats don't eat a lot of food. So getting new rats, if you already have rats, just make sure you don't get more than you can cope with. Now, rescues and charities are struggling, so they may not be able to help you as much as they have in the past. So there's lots of things you've got to do. I've got here a list of look, research, cut back, emergency fund, and ask for help and advice. So first of all, look at your finances, make lists of your incoming and your outgoings, where you can save money, do some research regarding how much your bills are possibly going to go up, and research with your food costs and the best places to buy stuff, whether you can buy in bulk, and cut back. Now, cutting back is it can be very difficult if you've always had a lot of money to spend, but a lot of people, when they were younger, had to live quite frugally, and we can do this, we can do it again. Now, for me, it's not been that difficult to cut back on a lot of things. There was only one thing that I didn't want to cut back on, which I'll talk about in a minute. But so once you've looked at what you can cut back at, we've actually saved about £30 a month on our electric bill by making sure we've got low energy bulbs. They're always switched off if we're not in the room. We've reduced our shower times and the amount of times we have a shower. We don't use a tumble dryer because that broke and we couldn't afford to replace it. So we are struggling in lots of ways as well. And we're reducing the amount of times we use our washing machine. So shop around for the best deals. We've also swapped liquid shampoo and gels for bar soap and bar shampoo. They not only last longer, they rinse off quicker and easier, so they save money in your water bill and your electric bill, and they're also in cardboard packaging, so they're better for the planet. There's one thing that you should not swap, and I believe that you shouldn't swap to cheaper, inferior pet foods, because this will affect the health of your animals and it could lead to expensive vet bills. And please don't make up cheap mixes out of breakfast cereals and things that do not have any nutritional value, because your animals will get sick. The other big thing to cut back on is going out. Now, in a bit of history from when I was young, going out and takeaway foods, we didn't really have takeaway foods. We only had the fish and chip shop. You wouldn't go more than once a week or once a month, depending on your finances. We didn't go out all the time. We didn't even go for coffee on a daily basis. We'd have coffee mornings, coffee and cake with friends and families, take turns at people's homes. If we went out for a coffee, it would be on Saturday after we'd done our shopping for the week. We really restricted what we were doing. Going out was really restricted. If you went out for a meal, it was usually a special occasion. We'd be careful at home. We would cook from scratch, batch bake, we'd use our freezers. We'd have a little prepper's pantry so that when things, tinned and packet foods were on offer, we would buy some extra and put them away for when maybe we didn't have as much money. But if you do that, make sure you follow stock rotation so the food's not wasted. So with your animal food, I wouldn't buy a large quantity of a fresh mix, such as the rat rations mix that we used to use, because their fresh foods don't keep as long. They don't have such a long life, and rat rations mix their food regularly, so it's best to buy what you need for maybe 1 or 2 months at a time. But it's fine to keep your dried foods longer, the packaged foods, and you should always have your rats used to having a few bits of packaged food as a treat, because if something happens and you can't get your fresh foods, they have to have something to eat. And obviously supplement all of your foods with your fresh fruit and vegetables, and don't give them vegetables and fruit that are going off. They must have fresh food, because otherwise they can get really sick. With yourself as well, you should eat your fruit and vegetables before they go off, because the same thing, you don't want to get sick. So you need to start your emergency fund. You need one for yourself and one for your vet bills. So anyone with an animal needs a vet bill fund, and just put what you can afford away. Also look out at charity vets such as PDSA, RSPCA and other animal charities, because they can sometimes help you. Another way that we've saved money is not buying any unnecessary clothing. In fact, we haven't bought any clothing for some of us for over a year, and others of us for 18 months, 2 years, because when we moved, a couple of us had more clothes than we needed. We had clothes we were never going to wear again. We donated to a charity shop, and if we'd had more time, we could have actually sold some of the items, but we decided to donate them. So don't feel bad about buying your stuff second hand, by buying from charity shops. We always used to have hand-me-downs. There's lots of school clothing shops popping up everywhere. So just look at the bigger picture, and I'm sure everyone can save money somewhere. And if you are in a desperate situation where you have nothing, you need to ask for help and advice. There's lots of good charities out there. There's lots of free advice. The people want to help you, so there's no shame in asking for help. Also, challenging times affect your mental health, which affects your physical health. So don't feel bad about asking for help. You need to get help for your physical and your mental health. It is so important. So when you're looking at the bigger picture, look at your needs and not your wants. Having said that, I do believe it's really important when you're at home a lot and when you don't have much money, that you do have a little bit for yourself, for your interests and your hobbies. Now maybe you make stuff that you can sell to raise money for your hobbies, or maybe you have items you don't need anymore that you can sell, but have a little bit so you can actually do something to keep your mind occupied and keep you busy, to stop you dwelling on, oh, I can't afford to go out this week. So lots of things you can do. Cooking from scratch is great. A homemade meal can be every bit as nice as one that you can buy in a restaurant, and you know exactly what's in the food. So just learn to cook. There's lots of online cooking courses as well. So at the end of the day, don't panic. However bad things feel at the time, bad times pass. So just be reassured that things will get better, and don't spend a lot of time looking and worrying about the future, about things you can't change. Take one day at a time and just do the best you can.